Microsoft. We've got Esco Strong here, Director of Marketplaces at Microsoft, and Pat McCarthy, SVP of Product at AppNexus, to talk about the future of advertising. Esco and Pat.
I almost canceled this interview when I found out that Esco and I went to rival colleges. I'm an Oregon Duck, he's a Washington Husky. And for those of you who follow college sports, you'll know that there's quite a bit of rivalry between our universities.
Yeah, but strangely enough, both of my folks are Ducks, so they had a very difficult time accepting that period of my life. They tried to erase it. Maybe that's why they had me pay my student loans off by myself. But in any case.
That's great. Well, lots going on at Microsoft. Both all over the company, lots of news throughout the industry. Steve Ballmer obviously stepping down as CEO. In his latest shareholder letter, he talked about Microsoft being a devices and services company, and that's the future of Microsoft. Where's advertising in that future?
Yeah, I think first and foremost for the folks in the crowd today, what it really means is advertising is at the forefront of a lot of efforts, of a lot of discussions, a lot of conversations at Microsoft in a way that it's never really been before. I think it's a pretty straight line you can make between the ambitions of a company like Microsoft to sell devices across a variety of surface areas, so phones, tablets, laptops, and also powering services like Bing, MSN, Xbox, and Skype. You've got to have a really powerful story there in terms of advertising to both fund that ecosystem and power those services and run those businesses, and also support third-party developers in that ecosystem, but also to balance that with putting user experiences first. So trusting that relationship that you've got with the user, you're selling them the device, you're providing those services. So reimagining the advertising experience in a way that is truly accretive to those users and actually adds value. So it's relevant, it's engaging, it's not obtrusive, it's not violating sort of some of the trust that they have with that provider. Okay.
So you're pushing ads out into all these devices, services. Microsoft is still one of the biggest publishers in the world. Are you, as the industry keeps changing and evolving, programmatic is something everyone in this room cares about, something that's a big industry buzzword. Is Microsoft all in on programmatic as a publisher?
Yeah, I actually I spoke at this event 2.5 years ago in San Francisco. So I thought it'd be fun to go back and look at the slides that I presented at that time. And my first takeaway was, God, I can't believe they invited me back. My second takeaway was, gosh, a lot has changed. A lot of the things we talked about as opportunities at that time have been realized. A lot of the challenges that we sort of assumed were ahead of us, a lot of the bumps in the road that we were seeing are things that we've mostly smoothed over in this space. And that's due in no small part to the hard work of a lot of the folks in this audience today. But the one thing that hasn't changed is Microsoft's commitment to programmatic. And so, back at that time, we were saying, we're really the first premium publisher committing all of our discretionary inventory to remnant, putting all of it into RTB, making that commitment, and that hasn't changed at all. And so since that time, we've actually expanded the Microsoft Advertising Exchange. We're live in 16 markets now, so we've gone around the globe, expanded by geo. We've brought new inventory sources aboard, so we've put Skype into Max, and that's available programmatically. We've got 2 different IAB ad sizes there with some really high quality users, 300 million users in 73 countries that are very engaged, pretty lengthy conversations they engage in, so they are engaged with the product. We've also partnered with other publishers to bring their inventory aboard to Microsoft Advertising Exchange in a very curated manner and very high quality inventory. So, the last thing I'd say is we announced at Adweek our intentions to build out Programmatic Direct as another programmatic channel, another effort to bring new capabilities into this space. So my answer is unequivocally, absolutely, we're all in on programmatic.
That's exciting. Lots of stuff going on there. You mentioned Skype. I don't think people realize how big Skype is. It's gigantic. And you guys have been putting ads into Skype and Windows 8 ads and apps. Can you show us a little bit about what do these ads look like? What are people seeing in Windows 8 applications and in Skype?
Yeah, absolutely. So we did announce that we're going to bring Windows 8 ads and apps inventory to the Exchange. Those are going to be IAB standard ad sizes as well to try and really ease the ability of folks to buy that inventory. We also announced that we're going to enable third-party ad serving against that inventory. And as someone who spent a fair amount of my career actually working in that space in third-party ad serving, we really recognize how important that is to advertisers and agencies to be able to standardize and also measure the performance of that inventory. And so I wanted to actually show folks some of the ad types that we have enabled here. Again, they're IAB ad types. They're within the Windows 8 the Windows 8 apps. These are ads appearing within the apps. And again, to go back to something that I said earlier, really putting the user experience at the forefront. We've imagined experiences here within the apps where if you can't notice the ad right away, it doesn't sort of pop out to you, don't feel bad. We're trying to make sure that these ads really flow with the experience that users are having. They're not obtrusive. They're not sort of interrupting the experience folks are having within that app. And so here you can see a Braun ad appearing within a game. Here over on the right-hand side, you've got a Nokia ad appearing within this Bing app. And so it sort of flows with the content that you're seeing here. It's very similar in style. And then finally, we've got an ad here in the lower right-hand corner for Life of Pi appearing within this Xbox app, along with a whole host of other sort of media available to you, music, movies, and stuff. So we're very proud of the experience that we've built here in terms of the way that it integrates with the app experience.
This ad is very well integrated and hard. If you just glance at this application, it's hard to see the ad. What's the thinking behind that? Is there a better response rates, worse response rates? What's the reason for making it so blended in?
Yep. I think part of it is, again, the user experience, what the user's doing, but also I think it's better optimized for advertisers in terms of you really want a user to be engaged with that ad if they're going to click it. You don't want to fool them into clicking it. And so having it be relevant in terms of the contextual relevance and the content that it's showing up alongside, I think really lends to the fact that users are going to be more engaged with these ads. In fact, a lot of studies have sort of proven that out. And it really is a sort of holistic experience for them where the ad isn't the one thing on the page that doesn't fit, sort of Sesame Street. One of these things just doesn't belong here. We don't need that anymore. So,
okay.
The other thing I wanted to show as well, because folks may not have seen it, is I talked a little bit about Skype ads being available in the Microsoft Advertising Exchange. We've actually got 2 standard IAB Skype ads available, the 300 by 250s. This one is on the home page for Skype. The other ad type is actually the conversation ad. It's also 300 by 250. And again, this is a user base that skews towards educated and affluent, and actually spends a lot of time in these conversations in Skype. I think it averages about 30 minutes. So it's quite an intriguing opportunity for an advertiser to actually reach users sort of in this environment. And then the last thing I wanted to say about Skype is you heard it here first, which is as of November 20th, we'll actually be adding one other creative type in Skype to the Microsoft Advertising Exchange, which is this chat ad. It's a 728 by 90 that appears in this space, and so that'll be available to buy programmatically as well.
Fantastic. Exciting. Great. Part of, I mentioned Skype being big, a lot of inventory there. Microsoft has long been one of the largest inventory sources in programmatic in AppNexus itself. When you guys made the move from Hotmail to Outlook, that amount of volume tanked dramatically, and volume is very important to a lot of the buyers and people in this room. What was the thinking there?
Yeah, I'll go back to some of the earlier points I made, that it's really about our true North Star being user experience. And so I'll say first, I empathize with all the folks in this room that dealt with that consequence. Is certainly something that affected our business pretty dramatically, and not a decision that we took lightly. But we were really at a point where we needed to go back and reimagine our email product, and we launched Outlook.com, and we did so without ads. And so that was really part of that effort to reimagine that entire experience for users. And I think it was the right decision looking back in retrospect without question, because we've ended up with a very usable product, a very functional product, a beautiful product that works great for email. And given that we've gotten to that point now, I'm also extremely pleased to announce that we're actually at a point where we're ready to bring ads back into Outlook.com. And that'll actually be available starting November 18th in the Microsoft Advertising Exchange. Similar to how we've reimagined the overall experience within that product, we've also similarly reimagined the ad experience. And so I've actually got a preview of that as well. You're seeing it here first. We've got this versatile ad on the right-hand side that's going to appear in both the inbox view and also the within mail view. This is a format that's probably very familiar to folks if you know the formats that are used on Facebook, but there's one key difference here, which is there will only be one ad, one advertiser appearing on that right-hand tile side. So it's a really unique opportunity for an advertiser, a single advertiser, to actually reach users in that space. It's a click-to-web versatile ad that'll actually pop up a web ad. You can see the Xbox One ad here for Rice, game that's coming very soon. We're really excited to make this announcement, and in fact, it's going to roughly double the amount of volume available on the Microsoft Advertising Exchange.
Wow, that's exciting for everybody in the room. Yeah, that's great. Sounds like there's a lot of new inventory that's going to become available, some new ad experiences, which is really cool. But you guys aren't done there, right? You mentioned earlier at the beginning about geographic expansion. Like, you guys launched? You already announced that you were launching Max in Japan.
Yep.
What else is happening there?
Yeah, we've launched in Japan. Very important market for us to extend Microsoft Advertising Exchange into. But we're not done there. We're actually we're going to continue expanding. We're going to roughly double our geographic footprint over the coming months. So we'll be launching in additional Western European markets this calendar year. And then starting in the next calendar year immediately, we'll be launching additional markets in a phased rollout. So we'll have more on that as those markets become available.
Great, great. You mentioned programmatic direct earlier on as well. That's similar to a lot of the buzzwords that get thrown around, programmatic premium, various stuff. What are you guys actually doing there?
Yeah, so we announced Programmatic Direct at Adweek. We think it's a very natural extension of the programmatic business for us as a publisher. Where what we're really doing here is we're extending the same efficiencies of RTB into some of the direct sold space. I think a lot of folks are aware of the fact that a great deal of revenue is still transacted directly with publishers in the sort of direct sold brand space. And so there are a number of features we've been getting requests from our customers for to be able to do programmatically. Things like reserve a buy and have guaranteed delivery. Things like having first chair access to inventory and being able to leverage publisher data segments in those buys. And so we think by first partnering with Yahoo, AOL, and Yildex to standardize on an API spec that we're hoping to have out there soon, we think that's really going to enable us to jumpstart this space. It's going to sort of minimize the time to implement and to build out for our partners to get this going. And we're really excited about the opportunities for Programmatic Direct to actually build that server-to-server API connection into publisher ad servers and bring those same efficiencies to that part of the business. I've been in this business about 10 years, and when I first started, everyone talked about bringing offline dollars online, and it's sort of, to hear that for 10 years and see slow but steady progress against it is sometimes disheartening. And I feel like this actually gives us a really good shot at finally driving those efficiencies into all of our business in terms of online display ads and actually seeing that happen in kind.
Okay, that should be interesting to see how that plays out. One of the things I felt has been missing from today has been anyone talking about mobile. The first half of the day, there was no mentionings of mobile. So I thought that we couldn't let the day escape without someone talking about mobile, since we're all using phones and all that type of stuff. But you guys have had some mobile stuff, available on the exchange. Maybe not as successful as you'd hoped and we'd hoped. What can we see from mobile and Microsoft in the future?
Yeah, it's a tremendously important surface area to us in terms of devices and services it's an incredibly important device. I think we're all acutely aware of the fact that people are spending more and more time on their mobiles. I certainly am no exception to that. My wife reminds me of it pretty consistently, something to the sense of, hey, are you on your phone again? But it's tremendously important to us as a company. And I think we've had mobile app inventory on the exchange since we first partnered with AppNexus. I think we're a little bit early. I think there were some challenges in terms of it being a non-standardized offering. And so it's really a pretty critical focus area for us, where we have announced some changes recently, like the enablement of a targetable ID in Windows Phone, enablement similar to ads and apps for Windows 8 of third-party ad serving on mobile inventory. And with all the investments that AppNexus is making in this space, some of which we've heard about today, I think we're really excited about recommitting and going even bigger in terms of mobile on RTB. So we'll have a lot more to talk about there, so stay tuned.
Great. So we've got Windows 8 ads and apps. We've got Outlook.com doubling the amount of inventory in the exchange. We've got programmatic direct. We've got geo expansion. And we've got improvements to the mobile experience and buying. That's a lot of stuff. It's a lot going on at Microsoft. How are you guys going to do this without a CEO, right? That's what I want to know. So my question for you is, who's going to be the next CEO of Microsoft?
Wow. I mean, quite honestly, I have no idea, but I am completely certain it won't be Paul Palmieri. I'm pretty confident about that one.
Well, let me. That's fair. That's fair. Let me give you two choices. I won't make you pick a name, but we can't let you off the hook that easily. I'll give you two choices. Next CEO of Microsoft: Michael Rubenstein, Brian O'Kelly.
So that's a tough choice. I'm going to hedge and I'm going to say Brian Rubenstein. Just mash up together there.
All right. Thanks, Esco.
Thanks a lot.